Yeah, just also to keep it brief. I guess for me, one of the things that's really valuable about internet notes and the concepts and hypotheses they put out there is not just that they're valuable or true in themselves, but they force us to ask new questions. They force us to look at things differently. They make things visible that weren't visible before. And I think that's, if the project is going to be broadened up into a network or into a new publication project, I would see the value of it being somehow inheriting Midnight Notes or continuing Midnight Notes, and that it could really provide a kind of network for the coordination of this kind of co-research and this kind of like asking questions about our movement, asking questions about, say, class composition in the US, this kind of hole that people sort of identified in promissory notes, right? Like thinking about ongoing struggles, thinking about analyzing them, putting it, giving them a theoretical cast and showing how they can fit in, resonate, complement, challenge other struggles that are going on, and using kind of Midnight Notes as a framework for doing this, and doing this both at a national level in the US, but also internationally, which is also very, very important. That to me seems like an indispensable task, and I think that is exactly the task of a kind of, a publication that would be doing a serious kind of investigation into the state of our various movements, and that could be a role for Midnight Notes, and one that the kind of project I would love to work on.
Well, I have a couple of things just to follow on into that. I was at this conference yesterday. It's called Internet as Factory, and it was a lot about the ways in which many of us volunteer our whole beings to websites that are proprietary and corporate owned, and they're generating capital for someone, and they're getting just so much free inputs into the entire system. And so what does that mean for labor composition today? And anyway, it's all online, digitallabor.net. They videotaped every panel so you can watch it. And like I said, each panel, at least one person mentioned autonomous Marxism. Not, any material labor, but not feminism, not until only one of them. And I just want to, I guess a lot of things I've been thinking about today have to do with form. It's been brought up a bit around just what media forms. So to rethink that a little. Also, like this form, this change of form at the end of the day has made me feel like more voices are being heard, and that's interesting too. But also the Bristol Radical History Group, I think, are offering us some examples of form, of both social and media forms in which they're organizing. And just to contribute, I think, to like what do we do? I mean, I don't know, but like they met through their sports clubs. And that really seems like sustains their community. It's this thing that's not just like trying to figure out what are we going to do all the time, which obviously can like really burn you out, but also, playing. They're playing sports together, and it's embodied, and their bodies together hitting each other and everything else, and then they have a bar that they go to. They've been staying at my house, so I've gotten a lot to know. And then there's the bar, and that there's these spaces, these social spaces that are not meant to be productive, because we have these reading groups, we have these meetings, we're always trying to produce something. And I think these non-productive spaces are very conducive to new ideas, and that's all I want to say.
No. It's fine.
I really like projecting, so I'm just going to project, and I'll be very brief, and then my voice will last. I try not to speak during the day because I feel like I speak a bit too much because I'm also so eager when I come to a Midnight Notes gathering. But I won't repeat the things that have been said that I agree with, but I just want to add, I don't know, my vote, for lack of a better term, for the precedence of meeting in person or even sharing communication that's more or less analog, and on that basis then deciding how we can best use the internet. So to do it in that order, and then also especially I kind of also want to back up the statements that really today I think is a bit instructive in the sense that yes, we did pay so much attention to the patient on the gurney, so to speak, but, and I don't know if this was said yet, but I don't even know if we've criticized or aptly considered how it is that we are or do not yet know how to heal at all. So I feel like maybe we've, I don't feel like 30 years is enough yet for a future that can still be changed, but I do feel like the metaphor of the dying project and collective, I really encourage that people seriously consider that that has run its course, and that perhaps the the consideration of some kind of like out-of-body self on a table for operation can, as a theater, we can close the door on that, and take a lesson from people who have fought colonization for centuries, and we've read about in texts like Caliban and the Witch, that we have still enough resources, enough capacities, enough memories to be able to take on, what we know will come in greater and greater heights, to be able to reproduce ourselves as communities. And so my suggestion is that we do come together as much as possible in person, and it seems, for whatever geographic reasons, you people in New York City seem to still be the hosts in that sense. Thank you again. But I think that that remains limited. My first comment in my introduction was to say that, comrades from north of the U.S. intensely militarized border, by and large decided, despite their great affinity with people here individually, with the revolutionary projects that people come from and are going back to, felt that they couldn't quite risk passing the border. But relatively more easily, our texts and the recordings and the documents of what we bring when we come together and what we have to say to bring back can. So I really encourage both gathering in person, and also I would promote publishing. But about somewhat of the format and the accessibility and the relativity, or maybe that's the wrong use of that term, the relevance, that's what I meant, of what we come up with, is I would really encourage that the publishing form include, explicitly, solicit, encourage people to, yes, include multiple languages, and not only the tongues with which we speak, but the formats. I mean, why is it that leaflets are so seldom reproduced in our print publications, right? I think that a pamphlet, like Peter did that today, actually. So what am I saying? It does get used in these formats, right? But I think that could be reflected in a next Midnight Friends notes or whatever. Okay, I think I've said enough, but I look forward to working with folks and getting to know you more, and also having an opportunity to not just come and listen to the elders and the youngsters and the folks from the margins saying, what about that debate from the late 70s? That's very interesting, but I think it would be even more valuable if we came together with more or less equal space and time to come and speak from where our locations are, the relations we have, and how we want to strengthen those, and how we can do it together.